All right, let's talk about travel for 2025. Because we've been digging through all the top travel guides, and we've uncovered something weird. A hidden conflict in their advice that could totally change where and, how you decide to travel next year.
In fact, I'm going to just come right out and say it. The most popular travel advice for 2025 is a trap. Seriously, it's built to grab your attention, but it might just be leading you straight into a travel nightmare. So let's figure out why.
Okay, so let's get into the puzzle itself. All the big names, the most respected travel guides, they've all dropped their best of lists for 2025. But if you actually look at them side by side, you realize they're telling you to do completely opposite things.
And that brings us to the big question we're tackling today. Why? Why are these expert guides giving us recommendations that are polar opposites? You've got one saying, you have to go here, now, while another one is practically shouting, stay away. How can they both possibly be right?
I mean, just look at this. It's a perfect example. On one side, you've got Lonely Planet crowning Cameroon its #1 country to visit. They're talking up its 65th anniversary, the culture, the incredible wildlife. But then on the other side, Fodor's puts Bali, a place that's always a favorite, on its no list, warning about environmental disaster and just the crushing impact of too many tourists. So what gives?
Well, this is where we get to the big reveal, because once you see the hidden pattern behind all these lists, I promise you, you will never look at travel advice the same way ever again.
Here's the secret. It's not really a disagreement. They're not even on the same field. They're playing two totally different games, each with its own rulebook. And we can call these games competing travel philosophies. The first one, it's all about event hype. This focuses on what's timely. Big anniversaries, a World Expo, brand new museums. It's all about answering the question, why go right now? The second game is about carrying capacity. And this one asks a much tougher question. Can this place physically and socially handle any more visitors without completely breaking down?
And this chart, man, it lays it all out perfectly. You've got publications like Lonely Planet and Frummers. They are the masters of event hype. They're always looking for that hook, right? A bicentennial in Bolivia, the World Expo in Osaka. Then you have Fodor's with its no list. They're playing the role of the referee for carrying capacity, and they're blowing the whistle on places that are at their absolute breaking point.
So let's dig into that first philosophy, event hype, and see how it creates what I call the hype trap. This is where a best of recommendation can actually be a huge warning sign in disguise. Let's take Osaka, Japan as our first case study. I mean, it is on everyone's list for 2025. The yen is weak, so Japan feels super affordable, and the city's hosting the massive World Expo. Sounds pretty perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah, not so fast, because here is the hidden cost of all that hype. During the World Expo, hotel prices in and around Osaka are expected to shoot up by as much as 50%. Suddenly, your affordable dream trip just got really, really expensive.
And this right here is what we call the Expo price trap. It's when the very event that gets a city onto the best of list is the exact same thing that completely wipes out any savings you thought you were getting. It's a classic bait and switch, and it's all fueled by hype.
And for me, this was the moment everything just clicked. A best of list isn't always a simple recommendation. Sometimes it's actually a financial risk you need to be aware of. And as we're about to see, the risk isn't always just about money.
Let's circle back to Cameroon for a second. Lonely Planet is hyping up its anniversary in these gorgeous beaches. But here's the part they don't exactly put on the cover. The US State Department has a level 4 do not travel advisory for huge parts of Cameroon. Why? Terrorism, armed conflict, kidnapping. That's not just a contradiction. That is a potentially life-threatening paradox.
Okay, so now let's flip the coin and look at the other game being played, carrying capacity. This is where we shift away from hype and look at the hard, kind of sobering data, the real numbers behind these beautiful destinations that are right at their tipping point.
So let's go to the Thai island of Koh Samui. Now look at this number. This isn't just a statistic, it's a real problem. 150,000 tons. That's the weight of a mountain of trash just sitting in a landfill because the island's infrastructure literally cannot handle it.
And it gets worse. Every single day, another 180 to 200 tons of garbage gets piled on top. The entire system is completely, utterly overwhelmed. And if you look over at Bali, the situation is so bad that Fodor actually calls it a plastic apocalypse, and the data backs him up. An unbelievable 52% of the island's daily waste just goes completely unmanaged. It pollutes the rivers, it pollutes the oceans, it's a crisis.
So, what's about to make this whole situation in Koh Samui even worse? Well, it's a phenomenon we can call the White Lotus effect. You know, the hit TV show? They filmed their new season there. And when that thing airs in 2025, it's going to trigger this massive tourism surge that the island's already broken infrastructure is just not ready for. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire.
Okay, so the lists are fighting, the hype is a trap, and paradise is literally crumbling under the weight of it all. It sounds pretty bleak, I know, but now that you can see these patterns, it's time to give you the playbook. This is your unfair advantage for 2025.
Because now, you get it. You understand the two different games being played. And with that knowledge, you can cut through all the noise and actually travel smarter than everyone else who's just blindly following the headlines.
So here it is, 4 simple steps. First, identify the metric. Ask yourself, are they selling me temporary event hype, or are they talking about long-term carrying capacity? Second, spot the paradox. Is there a giant disconnect between the glossy promotion and the on-the-ground reality, like with Cameroon? Third, analyze the timing. Is this a truly once-in-a-lifetime event, or is it just another Expo price trap? And finally, number 4, check the infrastructure. Is this beautiful paradise on the verge of collapsing like we're seeing in Koh Samui?
And that's the key takeaway here. The secret isn't about finding the one right list. The real power comes from learning how to read between the lines of every single list, using this new framework to decode what they're really telling you.
You now have the tools to see these traps way before you fall into them. So the final question I have for you is this. Now that you can see these hidden patterns, how will you travel differently?